Sunday brunch at the Parker family estate was a sacred tradition. Crystal champagne flutes, imported cheeses, and my sister Vanessa holding court like the queen she believed herself to be. "We're thinking Santorini this time," Vanessa announced, scrolling through her phone. 6 weeks. Private villa obviously. The one with the infinity pool overlooking the caldera. Mom clapped her hands together. "Oh, that sounds divine. When do we leave?" 3 weeks, Vanessa said. "I already put the deposit down. 50,000. I looked up from my tablet where I'd been reviewing financial reports. 50,000? On whose credit card? Vanessa waved dismissively. "Don't worry about it. I used the family account." The family account. The joint checking account Mom had insisted on opening when I turned 18, claiming it was for emergencies and helping each other out. The account I'd learned to keep minimal funds in after watching them drain it repeatedly. "The account currently has $3,000 in it," I said calmly. "Had," Vanessa corrected. "I transferred from your savings to cover it. You have plenty." My hand stilled on the tablet. "You transferred from my savings?" "Family money is everyone's money," she said as if explaining to a child. "That's what Dad always taught us. Besides, you never spend anything. You just let it sit there." Dad nodded from behind his newspaper. "Your sister's right, Claire. What's the point of having money if you don't enjoy it? This vacation is an investment in family memories." "An investment," I repeated slowly. "In Santorini. For 6 weeks. You're invited too, of course," Mom added quickly. "Though I know you'll probably say you're too busy with work. You're always too busy." Too busy. Code for boring, antisocial, not fun like Vanessa. "How much did you transfer?" I asked. Vanessa checked her phone. 150,000. "The villa is expensive and we need spending money." "Don't worry, there's still plenty left in your account. You had what, 200,000? That's more than enough for someone with no life." The table went quiet. Even Dad lowered his newspaper. I set down my tablet very carefully. "You transferred $150,000 from my account. Without asking." "I'm on the account," Vanessa said defensively. "Mom added me as a joint holder years ago. For emergencies, remember?" "Emergencies," I said. "Like luxury vacations." "Claire, don't be dramatic." Mom's voice carried that familiar edge of disappointment. "We're family. We share resources. Your sister works hard at her boutique thing. She deserves a break." Vanessa's boutique thing was an online jewelry store that had lost money for 3 consecutive years. Money my parents had poured into it. Money they'd regularly borrowed from my savings to cover. "How exactly did you access my savings account?" I asked. "That's not joint." "Mom has your banking login," Vanessa said casually. "She set up the accounts, remember? We've been managing your money for years. Someone has to, since you clearly don't care about it." My phone buzzed. Text from my actual assistant, Jordan. "Meeting with Federal Reserve auditors confirmed for 2 p.m. They're bringing the full investigative team." I glanced at the time. 11:47 a.m. "Actually," I said quietly, "I care about it very much. Which is why I'm curious how you plan to return the $150,000 you stole." "Stole?" Vanessa's voice pitched higher. "How dare you? I'm your sister. And theft is theft regardless of family relationship." Dad set down his newspaper. "Now Claire, that's enough. Your sister made a simple transfer between family accounts. We've been doing this for years without issue." "Yes," I agreed. Which is why I'm having some guests join us for brunch." Mom frowned. "Guests? You didn't mention." The doorbell rang. I stood smoothing my dress. That would be them now. Through the foyer windows I could see 3 dark sedans parked in the circular driveway. Men and women in professional attire were emerging, carrying briefcases and badges. "Who is that?" Vanessa's voice carried an edge of panic. I walked to the door and opened it. "Mr. Harrison." "Thank you for coming on such short notice." Robert Harrison, senior investigator for the Federal Reserve's Financial Crimes Division, extended his hand. "Miss Parker, thank you for the invitation. Though I admit, this is an unusual venue for a meeting." "I thought it appropriate," I said, "given that the unauthorized transactions originated from this household." I led them into the dining room. My family sat frozen, champagne glasses halfway to lips, confusion morphing into alarm. Mom, Dad, Vanessa, I said pleasantly, I'd like you to meet some colleagues. This is Robert Harrison and Linda Chin from the Federal Reserve, and James Rodriguez from the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. The color drained from Vanessa's face. FBI. Mom whispered. Harrison set his briefcase on the dining table, extracting a folder. Mr. and Mrs. Parker, Vanessa Parker, were here regarding multiple unauthorized electronic transfers from accounts belonging to Claire Parker. Specifically, transfers totaling over $2.3 million over the past 7 years. The silence was absolute. $2.3 million? Dad's voice cracked. That's impossible. Claire doesn't have. Actually, Linda Chin interrupted, consulting her tablet. Miss Claire Parker's current liquid assets total approximately $47 million. Her investment portfolio is valued at an additional $63 million. Her real estate holdings. Stop, Mom said faintly. This is some kind of mistake. No mistake, I said quietly. The mistake was thinking I didn't notice you'd been stealing from me for 7 years. Vanessa found her voice. You have $100 million? How is that possible? You work at some tech company doing boring computer stuff. I don't work at a tech company, I corrected. I own 3 of them. Parker Digital Solutions, Parker FinTech, and Parker Cybersecurity. Combined annual revenue last year was just over $400 million. The champagne glass slipped from Mom's hand, shattering on the marble floor. The account you've been accessing, I continued, the one you call my savings? That's what I call my bait account. I've maintained it specifically to track your theft. Every unauthorized transfer, every forged signature, every fraudulent withdrawal, all documented. Harrison opened the folder, spreading documents across the brunch table, pushing aside the imported brie and prosciutto. These are bank records showing systematic unauthorized access to Ms. Parker's accounts. Mrs. Parker, you're listed as having login credentials to multiple accounts. Ms. Vanessa Parker, you're listed as a joint holder on 3 accounts. Mr. Parker, your signature appears on multiple transfer authorizations. We're her parents. Dad stood abruptly. We have a right to help manage her finances. She's 32 years old, Rodriguez said flatly. She's not a minor. And even if she were, this would still constitute financial exploitation. I don't understand, Mom said, tears starting. We raised you. We gave you everything. How can you do this to us? You gave me everything? I set my tablet on the table, pulling up a spreadsheet. Let's review. College tuition. I paid through scholarships and student loans, which I paid off myself. The car you gave me for graduation? I found the loan documents in your desk. In my name. With my forged signature. I've been making those payments for 10 years. That was just to help you build credit. Dad started. The down payment on this house? I continued. The one you told everyone came from Dad's bonus? That was $340,000 from my account, transferred the month I sold my first company. Vanessa's eyes widened. Your first company? You've sold 3 companies, I confirmed. The first when I was 25. That's when the serious theft began. Suddenly my savings account needed constant monitoring. Funny how that worked. Harrison consulted his notes. The transfers show a clear pattern of escalation. Small amounts initially, $5,000, $10,000. Categorized as loans or family support. Then larger sums. $20,000, $30,000, $50,000. The largest single transfer was last year. $400,000, labeled investment opportunity. That was for Vanessa's boutique expansion, I said. The expansion that never happened. The money disappeared into personal expenses. Designer clothes, luxury cars, and apparently villa deposits in Santorini. We were going to pay you back. Vanessa cried. We always planned to. With what money? I asked. Your boutique loses money every quarter. Mom hasn't worked in 20 years. Dad's salary barely covers the property taxes on this house. Linda Chin looked up from her tablet. Speaking of this house, Miss Parker, our records show the deed was transferred to your name 3 years ago. Were you aware of that? Mom and Dad exchanged glances. No, I said. But I'm not surprised. They probably needed to refinance and couldn't qualify. So they used my credit. Again. The mortgage is in your name, Chin confirmed. Current balance, $1.8 million. The refinance proceeds, $2.2 million, were deposited into accounts controlled by your parents. Where did the money go? I asked. Dad looked away. Investments. Business opportunities. Failed investments, Harrison corrected, consulting another document. A restaurant that closed within 6 months. A real estate venture that went bankrupt. And approximately $800,000 that simply disappeared into personal expenditures. You stole over $2 million from me to fund your lifestyle, I said quietly. All while telling me I was irresponsible with money. All while praising Vanessa for her entrepreneurial spirit. All while making me feel like the boring, selfish daughter who didn't understand family values. We didn't steal, Mom insisted. We borrowed. Family borrows from family. That's what we do. Borrowing requires consent, Rodriguez said. This is theft, fraud, and identity theft. The FBI takes financial crimes seriously, especially at this scale. Vanessa's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, her face going white. The credit card company just declined the villa deposit refund. They're saying there's a fraud investigation. There is, I confirmed. I contacted them this morning. Along with every financial institution where you've used my information. All accounts are frozen pending investigation. You froze our accounts? Dad's voice rose. How are we supposed to live? The same way I lived when I was building my companies, I said. On your own income and within your means. Harrison cleared his throat. Mr. and Mrs. Parker, Ms. Vanessa Parker, you're being formally notified of a federal investigation into wire fraud, identity theft, and financial exploitation. The total fraudulent amount exceeds $2 million. This is a felony offense carrying significant prison time. Prison. Mom's voice was barely audible. Claire, you can't let them. I can't stop them, I said. This is a federal investigation. It's out of my hands now. We're your family. Vanessa shouted. You're really going to let us go to prison over money you don't even need? You're really going to prison over money you stole from me, I corrected. There's a difference. Chin handed each of them a document. These are subpoenas for all financial records, including bank statements, credit card records, and loan documents. You're required to appear for formal questioning in 2 weeks. I strongly recommend you retain legal counsel. Legal counsel costs money, Dad said bitterly. Money we don't have because you froze everything. You don't have money because you spent $2 million you stole, I said. That's not my problem. Harrison packed up his briefcase. Miss Parker, thank you for your cooperation. We'll be in touch as the investigation proceeds. Based on the evidence you've provided, I expect charges to be filed within 60 days. As they left, the house fell silent except for Mom's quiet crying. How long have you known? Dad asked finally. Since the beginning, I said. I noticed the first unauthorized transfer when I was 23. I started documenting everything. Every theft, every forged signature, every lie about family money. And you just let us keep doing it? Vanessa asked incredulously. I let you build your own case, I said. Every theft was another felony. Every forged signature was another charge. I wanted to make sure that when this ended, it ended permanently. We're going to lose everything, Mom whispered. The house, the cars, everything. Yes, I agreed. The house that's in my name will be sold. The mortgage will be settled. The cars that were purchased with stolen money will be seized. And you'll face the legal consequences of federal crimes. We're your parents, Dad said desperately. Doesn't that mean anything? It meant everything, I said quietly. Until you decided it meant you could steal from me with impunity. Until you treated me like an ATM instead of a daughter. Until you made it clear that my only value to this family was my bank account. I picked up my tablet and my purse. The federal investigators will be monitoring this property. I suggest you don't attempt to hide or transfer any remaining assets. That would add obstruction of justice to your charges. Where are you going? Mom asked. Back to my actual home, I said. The penthouse downtown that you didn't know about. To my actual life that you were never part of. Claire, please, Vanessa begged. I'm sorry, We're all sorry. Can't we work something out? Drop the charges and we'll pay you back. With what money? I asked. And why would I trust you now? You had 7 years to be honest. 7 years to stop stealing. You chose to escalate instead. I walked toward the door then paused. The vacation villa in Santorini? I called them. Explained the deposit was made with stolen funds. They're refunding it directly to my account and blacklisting your names. You won't be taking that trip. What are we supposed to do? Vanessa cried. Get jobs, I said simply. Live within your means. Face the consequences of your choices. You know, all the things you told me I needed to do while you were stealing my money. I left them there in their dining room, surrounded by shattered crystal and shattered illusions. 60 days later, federal charges were filed. Mom, Dad, and Vanessa were each charged with multiple counts of wire fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. The evidence was overwhelming. 7 years of documented theft, forged signatures, and unauthorized access to accounts. My attorney, Catherine Mills, called with updates. They're trying to negotiate. Their lawyer is offering full restitution in exchange for reduced charges. Full restitution with what assets? I asked. That's the problem. They have none. The house will be seized and sold. Your mortgage will be settled, but that won't cover the stolen funds. They're looking at significant prison time. Good, I said. Catherine paused. Claire, I have to ask, are you sure about this? They're your family. They stopped being my family the moment they chose to see me as a resource to exploit, I said. I'm sure. The trial was brief. The evidence was damning. Mom received 4 years. Dad received 5. Vanessa, who had been the most actively involved in the recent thefts, received 7. I attended the sentencing hearing. Sat in the gallery and watched them learn their fate. Vanessa saw me as they led her out in handcuffs. I hope you're happy, she screamed. I hope that money keeps you warm at night since you don't have any family left. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. 6 months after sentencing, I sat in my penthouse office overlooking the city. Parker Digital Solutions had just closed a merger that valued my combined companies at $340 million. Forbes had called for an interview. The Wall Street Journal wanted a profile. My assistant knocked. Claire, you have a letter. It was marked personal. Prison stationery. Mom's handwriting. I almost threw it away unread. But curiosity won. Claire, I've had a lot of time to think in here. Your father and I realize now what we did to you. We were wrong. We stole from you, we used you, and we never saw you as anything but a source of money. We don't expect forgiveness. We don't deserve it. But I want you to know that I'm sorry. Not because I'm in prison, because I destroyed my relationship with my daughter. I hope someday you can find peace with what happened. Even if we never speak again, I hope you're happy. Mom. I read it twice, then filed it away. Maybe someday the words would mean something. Maybe someday I'd feel something other than the cold satisfaction of justice served. But not today. Today I had a company to run, employees who respected me, and a life I'd built entirely on my own terms. Family money is everyone's money, Vanessa had said. He was wrong. My money was mine. My success was mine. My future was mine. And no one would ever take it from me again.